Hello fellow gamers and imbibers of digital deliciousness, this is Carrick from Angry Centaur Gaming, and today I bring you a preview/review of Stardrive 2. The game launches on April 9th on Steam and other digital services and is brought to you by Zero Sum Games. How is this both a preview and a review? Easy. As always with this channel, I'm going to tell you everything about how the game stands currently, and if that stays the same upon release, then you have yourselves a review. Ta-da! Easy, breezy, cover girl. If the Steam page reports a great deal of changes, then consider this a preview, and I will then revisit the game. Pretty much bog standard stuff for our channel. Stardrive 2 is another in the growing line of 4x space games, coming out on Steam and by smaller teams. The game's designer references Master of Orion 2 as a basis of comparison, which is the equivalent of a red shirt poking Kirk in the belly and saying, "I can do better than you." Well, we're gonna see. Let's jump right into the preview. Graphics, as always, are up first. I was a bit surprised to find myself impressed by the graphics, especially considering the game is made by like one person or maybe one or two. Everything has a really cohesive look to it, and though the races may not be ultra surprising to anyone who's ever turned on a spacefaring game of this kind in the last 10 years, they all have their own look and it serves them well. The UI is fairly good, if a bit confounding in a couple areas, including research, which for some reason splits the available research to you currently from the giant catalog of research projects that will be available, which is like having your chapter of contents for a novel in a completely separate book called Mysteries. I had to continually and clumsily go back and forth there to line up my thoughts and link my ideas together and identify what I wanted to do, and it made research strategies just a little bit more cumbersome than they should have been. A small issue, but something noticeable nonetheless. The game, for the most part, keeps a demigod's view of everything that's going on, which means you can never get super close to anything on the main map, but trades that for a fairly good overall view of those things that are going on around you. Planets, asteroids, and mysterious alien artifacts are all represented nicely, if a bit minuscule due to the view itself. Battles, on the other hand, allow for a full zoom in down to a really good detail level, and the battles themselves are visceral with different effects for all weapons and nice exploding elements when things go full-on con during a battle. And all the ships are rendered nicely, and the game never drops frame rates, even during fairly hectic battle play. So, sound, music, and voice. Up first is sound, and it really is good with different alerts informing the player of specific things occurring within his space kingdom, as well as the various sound effects of ship lasers as they burn off a blade of armor and smash through reactors, tearing apart ships with secondary explosions as aliens figure out the easiest way into your cruiser's soft chewy centers. Really good sounds through and through from beginning to end. I really liked it. Now, music. You know, man, and honestly, the music has an endearing quality if it's a bit samey compared to other titles of this type. While the map music was suitably dreamy and spacey with random gurgles and moans like the universe was having a hard time digesting my completely shitty commanding, the music everywhere else is basically what you would expect from a game like this, and it brings to mind marching warriors and expanding space empires, but it does so without offering a unique view or being overly memorable compared to, say, Endless Space or other games of this kind. Now, voice. The tutorials are fully voiced and do a nice job of balancing most tutorials' rickety reasoning behind being exhaustive listening boards for poorly paid and poorly done voice actors in the guise of designers. Instead, you have excellent advice to a captain just done smashing his little ships because the Borg showed up and ruined his dance number. Though most of the game has no voice itself, having the tutorials voiced and well written out went a long way for me. I would have loved for the alien races themselves to be fully voiced, but that's asking a great deal from any team, even larger ones, let alone a single guy trying to pitch bend his voice into 8 or 9 alien races, including the Man Bear, or Bearman, or Bram, or maybe it's a mare. Regardless, no voice for the mare is a missed opportunity, but overall, really like that the tutorials were voiced. Gameplay. Listen, this is tried and true space exploration gameplay that is turn-based on the main map and real-time in the battles with a slow-mo feature there as well. But don't let similarities to past games of this kind fool you, because Stardrive actually has some subtle changes to the overall scheme of those games that really speak volumes for its gameplay, and proves that you may not be able to teach an old dog new tricks, but you can indeed get a better dog and let the old one die somewhere. First up is the ship types called freighters that not only deliver food to colonies that can't grow their own because they don't know how to shit in some dirt and drop some random seeds into it, but they also aren't directly controllable, taking care of specific needs within your realm of space automatically. They are built like any other ships, but consider them smart vessels, relieving you of worrying that the fat berries sitting in some asteroid creating your new pulse lasers for your ships won't starve themselves to death. That is, of course, if you are making an abundance of food somewhere else to transport there. You see, it's pretty simple. Every colonizable planet, which changes depending on the race you picked and how you set them up, has 3 sections: farmers, scientists, and workers. Farmers grow the food, keeping your idiot savants and other space longshoremen up to their necks in sea cucumbers or space cucumbers or whatever bear humans and crossbreeds eat. Scientists invent shit, adding to your research pool for discovering new sciences, and workers make everything land, sea, and air. You can quickly move around, drag and drop, and see the effect that they will make on any planet and the whole empire via the always present interface, which tells you your stores of those same things: food, workers, and research points. It's nice to be able to mess around in a planet interface without worrying about it making constant changes, as the entire game is turn-based and you can see those changes and what they will do in the future. Once you're comfortable, you have a growing list of stuff that you can build as the scientists continually discover different colony, exploration, and shipbuilding or planet-based constructibles. Now, while none of this is particularly earth-shattering, the combination of the excellent what you see is what you get interface, as well as the various types of planets, asteroids, and other locations, really allows for some excellent customization per planet and per system. Now, it's shipbuilding time, which not only takes specific bonuses and penalties from the planets you build on, but the game offers a fairly excellent shipbuilding system within the aptly named shipyard. Go in, drag and drop your various researched items into the structures and see how it all fits together. The game has an excellent set of systems to quickly feed back to the player if the ship will run out of bullets in the first couple seconds of a battle, or if it'll be a broadside warmonger causing alien races to actually shit their spacesuits the moment it warps into their systems. Additionally, once a ship exits friendly territory, they start using up their precious go-go juice, which means fuel, and its consumption has to be planned for in most ship builds, offering an excellent interplay of exploration and firepower. Make long-range exploratory vessels if you want, but at least until you research some better technologies, they're going to be armed with a slinky and harsh names to call enemies or space pirates that they run into. Though not offering the customability to change the look of your ship unless you order the deluxe version of the game, one absolutely fantastic addition to shipbuilding here is that even the most basic weapons and items have sub-additions. For example, lasers can not only have various kinds, like point lasers for defense, spine lasers that hit hard but have almost no turn radius, and turrets. They can also be modified to have rapid fire, overcharge, be armored, have the range increased, and so on. Almost everything in the game can be modified in that way when building ships. This means that the vanilla structures are also incredibly customizable and gives you a large array of options for creating your own ships, from status quo hold-the-line destroyers to specifically tricked out quick turn and rapid fire laser cruisers that never run out of ammo and hold enough contained power to make the surface of the sun seem like a pretty cool place to be when you're on the receiving end of their power. It is a stellar system that allows for gamers to not feel like they have to always research the hardest hitting weapons, especially when you have so many racial attributes to pick from that also adjust the shipbuilding, planetary colonization, and how often your races make the two-back beast and breed other races out of the picture. It is a fantastic addition to shipbuilding. However, less so is the ground-based warfare, which when it does come up sadly feels like an add-on module called oh shit, I need to add something here. Now, I'm not saying you can't customize your ground troops, because you can, just not with the depth of your ships. Luckily, racial attributes can also affect ground troops, but gone is the real-time feel of the ship battles, and instead it moves to a fairly rote turn-based affair, with forces having a couple special moves that all play out with really basic animations, and disconnected feel that hurts this part of the presentation. Luckily, all battles, space and land, can be auto-completed, and even at the risk of dying, I usually auto-completed land battles because working through them did feel tedious at best. But truly, where this game excels is offering a typical space game with a fairly great UI, excellent ship customization, and what you see is what you get presentation in almost all areas. Another excellent addition are commendations, which is basically the game rewarding you for living through battles by giving your ships awards that were almost always of excellent use. This then created additional tension during battle because a ship with a couple of awards, even a fairly lightly powered one, could punch at a far greater weight, but also meant losing it was an outstanding kick to the spaceballs, leaving ship captains with the hard choice of keeping it alive or sending it out into the thick of battle, knowing that losing it could mean a swift end to any other ships commanded beside it. And as you can tell, I absolutely loved the commendation system. Simply brutal efficiency, and it really did add tension to the game. Now, additionally, various commanders can be hired that offer bonuses and penalties to the planets and ships that they're assigned. An excellent bonus to this is that if you turn them down, they stick around a bit waiting at the Space Unemployment Agency just in case you might want them. They leave after a bit, but that also allows for you to wait a bit before making a choice to pay them for their services or not. It's another excellent nuance to the strategies of Stardrive 2. Now, negotiations in Spycraft also offer some interesting facets, like moving your spies from a defensive role, which means an anti-bond just running around searching for enemy moles and then killing them quietly in the night, or offensive roles, which have their own completely separate growth bar and potential to spread anarchy and destruction across enemy planets. Everything is again in a drag and drop format, really simplifying any race's and space commander's job. I loved it. Now, negotiations are fairly basic, with the ability to trade an assortment of goods, treaties, bounties, and services between races. However, another subtlety added to the game is a meter that basically tracks if you've been calling too much like a jilted boyfriend. And if you keep trying to trade with another race, they will basically put on hold everything you do, keeping you from taking advantage of other races too quickly and stopping you from the typical space game handshake and then steal all their shit negotiation ploys of previous titles. Sadly, though, lacking is multiplayer, which in this game I feel would have been wonderful fun. Maybe to be added later, but currently it's not there. Sad omission. Fun factor. You know, I enjoyed my time with Stardrive. I'm not gonna lie, I did groan out loud when I had to do land battles, but they just aren't up to the same excellence of the space battles, and they were rare, luckily, and using some fairly basic arithmetic, I could guess if it was worth taking over manually anyway. And I love the ship-to-ship combat and exploring the universe. Luckily, just like the black hearts of my ex-wives, the universe is riddled with wormholes, and unlike my ex-wives, these are actually useful, as you can jump into them jetting off to unseen vistas and star systems that can offer excellent caches of hidden technologies and colonizable planets, or xenophobic alien races that want to use your anus like a puppet's control hole. Additionally, there were a few strategic necessities that I don't want to spoil here that surprised me greatly and showed nuances that aren't in higher priced games or higher advertised titles. Longevity. Well, I have to say one thing, the game ain't easy. Unlike Inception, where exploring the star systems work out in the end because of Matthew McConaughey loving somebody, this game has various assorted dangers and hazards that can wreak havoc on even the most well-laid plans. And damned if that didn't happen to me many times. I still haven't won the game, and I've found balancing homeland protection from space pirates and other races with exploratory expedition to alien planets to hump their green women and fashion crude explosive devices to be a large mystery to me that I have yet to solve. At some point, either I make a mistake in colonization and spread myself too thin, leading to Nicole Richie-like starvation and abandonment, or I wait too long, and the first one of the other races begins systematically taking me out using the intelligent decision of smashing through my defenseless freighters as a first choice. This results in all shipments to other systems being ceased, and usually the starvation cycle begins anew. But I'm also then pummeled by the race's excellent shipbuilding capability, as well as the space pirates who, even on the lowest setting for their population, just have to be somewhere on an asteroid fucking constantly and making little baby space pirates. It's infuriating, but also a solid checkmark for longevity and the AI, which I found to be excellent. So all in all, what does Stardrive 2 do right? Shipbuilding? Oh man, I love it. The ability to adjust your vanilla customizations and then also just get new resourced and researched items. Absolutely a great nuance. Various subtle strategies that unfold in unique ways I have not seen in other games. I don't want to ruin that, but even some of the exploratory stuff, you had to do specific things to find specific items, and I found that really cool. The racial ship and planetary bonuses and penalties feel very, very real and manageable by smarter men and women than I. And you know what? Hey, it's got voice tutorials by such a small team, something many other games leave to just being handled by text, and that was actually impressive. And lastly, the length and the difficulty. Not crushing, but it is crucial that you play intelligently. And even one mistake, spreading yourself too thin or something like that, can end up really wreaking havoc. What does Stardrive 2 do wrong? That land-based gameplay has got to be reworked. I am sorry, it doesn't feel like even the same type of game. Luckily, most of this game is based in space, but man, oh man, they need to improve that or change it around. Something has to be done there. And one or two bugs, including one time where I was, ta-da, the enemy, which rocked because I was weaker than them, so I had them retreat. That was an odd bug. There was another bug where an enemy came in and couldn't decide which of my freighters to kill, so all he did was go back and forth, aiming at one freighter, but then it would go into a planet so he wouldn't attack it, and then he would shoot off the other way to go to another freighter, but it would land on a planet, and then he would turn back around and continue doing it. It also might have some issues with the Steam overlay. It didn't seem to want to load sometimes with the Steam overlay on. There were some issues there. So, as you know, I rate games on a buy, wait for sale, rent, and never talk about it again rating scale. Upon release day, if the game is in its current form, I would easily have this a buy. Now, I get that the land battles are uber boring and slow, and maybe they'll see some improvement on release, but the actual meat of the game, the subtle interplay of additional technologies, good enemy AI, and simply fantastic customability in various facets are all hand and tentacled hand with excellent difficulty and typical 4-buy gameplay. It means this game's worth it right now. I can only see this getting better, and it's already a damned blast. Now, is it as complex and deep as some past space games? No, but the combination of the subtle differences and the almost cellular level enjoyment I got from customization and mixing bonuses from races, planets, buildings, and other areas, as well as the AI, overshadows that, as well as its easier on the wallet price tag versus some other games. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit like. If you didn't, hit dislike, and peace out.